Hello people of the earth and welcome to QuickSave TV. My name is Mike and this is QuickSave Daily number something, I don't even remember, 25 if I'm not mistaken. If I am, please do not lynch me. Today we're going to talk about differences between big and small channels as suggested by one of the viewers by the name Cold Blood and a whole bunch of numbers next to it. I thought it would be an interesting idea to talk about because me myself, I'm one of those small channels and I'm trying really hard to get bigger and producing new content and etc, etc, etc. The video in the background is going to be Unreal Tournament 3, the Insta Gib, I call it Insta Gib, I know it's incorrect, it probably should be like from a giblet, jibs, you know, like Insta Gib, whatever it is. The Insta Gib matches are the using of this rifle that actually kills the enemy in one shot, so it's a lot of excitement and it's a very big cheat for people such as myself. I actually don't need to do anything because all of these matches are really exciting. Now, to talk about the channels and their differences, we have to understand one simple thing. Just like in anything in life, in any kind of company or any kind of entity, the bigger it gets, the more clumsy it becomes, right? It's not necessarily bad, but it does offer or forces the change of the policies, the change of approach to the customer. I'm going to talk about it as a business model because, for instance, for me, what I'm doing on YouTube is not for you it's an entertainment, right? A source for entertainment or insight. For me it's my job. I use the money I get from YouTube to pay for my flat, to pay for my groceries, right? And I'm trying really hard to push it higher so that I can actually pay for my university because I'm really embarrassed to be 20 freaking years old and having my family pay my tuition in university. I feel like a useless pile of meat and I really want to change that. Now for me YouTube it's trying to get it as my career, you know. It started very simple as I was just trying to make videos and hoping that it would be able to become a career. Now I'm using it, you know, to pay some of my bills, or to pay all my bills and to pay all my food, right? And when I've started it, I always wanted to provide the content, you know, with a reasonable amount of quality, really high quality at first, but then it faded away as I was getting more and more experienced on the topic. Without going too much detail into that, YouTube is this kind of site, this kind of medium, the new medium of video in which the quality is not necessarily the highest factor. Yeah, sure, we have a lot of places on YouTube, a lot of channels which put a huge accentration on quality of their content, you know, a lot of editing, fancy ass sound works, music and etc, etc. But one has to remember that YouTube is not a movie. YouTube is not Game of Thrones, not Lord of the Rings, not Star Wars, you know, Star Wars episode, for example, 3, I think it was the most which, you know, in my opinion anyway, it had a lot of special effects, especially if I'm thinking, you know, the battle with the general with 4 arms, which was Android, that was absolutely astounding the way it was looking. Now, YouTube is not that. Now, when you watch a video, you do usually forget that this video was made from a scratch, you know, about anything. Video, would it be a video log, would it be a gaming video such as I make, for example. Now, to make a video, there has to be a lot of things taken in the video in order to actually make it. You know, these inputs from me are my attitude towards the video, like, can I force myself to sit down and do this video even though I might not feel very good, I might not be in the best mood. Like, for example, when you listen to songs from Eminem, he often talks about topics such as prioritizing family or job, right? He often talks about topic that he's depressed, right? But it's very interesting because he manages to write his music even though he's not in the best of his mood. That's very important and it's extremely difficult even though you wouldn't imagine. Sometimes I just wake up in the morning and I go sit in front of my computer in order to answer all the questions, right? To take a look at comments, to see how many subscriptions I've got, and etc, etc. And I'm just not in that mood. I just can't do it. I don't know. I'm like depressed or down or whatever. And anything can bring me down like this. Like, the easiest way to sabotage my work is to get a pesky comment, you know, to offend me in any way. And especially the comments that can offend me are those that are not like, oh man, you suck, or man, you're a faggot, or whatever. That's not offending me. That's very pathetic, as a matter of fact. The comments that offend me are the ones that are very creative and they usually come from an intelligent person, you know. And what this person doesn't realize is, though he was very witty in his comment and etc, etc, he in essence is sabotaging my work. So sometimes I avoid looking at comments altogether because I'm afraid to lose the mood to make a good video. Because to be funny, you need to be able to pour out this energy, and when you're not happy, it's very hard to be funny, if you ask ask me, at least for me. And the videos I'm trying to make, I want them to be entertaining no matter what I do, no matter is it an educational video or whatever. Now, in my current scale of my channel, why am I saying all this, right? In the current scale of my channel, I still can afford to wake up in the morning and go ahead and answer all those 20, 30, 40 sometimes comments. Every day I get from 20 to 50 comments easily, right? And I'm trying to, some may like say 5 to 10 of them are questions, so I try to answer them. Others I just comment on them, let's say comment back or say something, just to keep in touch with my audience and in a way connect to them, right? Right now, I still can afford doing it, right? I'm on the size of 3,000 subscribers, and that allows me to be able to answer to my to people who comment on my videos. Now, if that will change in the future and my channel will become much bigger, chances pretty high that I will not be able not only to answer to all the questions, but even to take a look at all the comments. This becomes very difficult at the moments when you break this threshold and what you're doing becomes much more massive than it actually was before. In my circumstance, I think this threshold for me will be when I reach at least 20,000 subscribers. And that will be the moment where I might not be able to respond to all the comments if they will proportionately grow in the size, Because right now you can see me, like you ask me a question and I say something like, please specify the second in the video in which you're referring to, right? Because I cannot sit there and watch my work, which I've made half a year ago. I just don't have the time. And if I do that, I waste time, which I could have been spending on improving the content. Like for example, right now, before I started recording this video for you, I've made something else. I was working on how to improve the outro and intro for Amnesia. I was searching for a custom font. I was searching for different color schemes, how to make it so that it's appealing to the eye. I was playing with different effects to make it interesting and unusual, something that you've never seen before on any other channel. Because I'm a small guy, I need to find a way to compete. Find this way. I have to find it and strike really hard against titans. I call them titans and I'm not ashamed of that. I call them titans because they're my competition and because of their size. And I know that it's very hard to compete with them. And in order to compete with them, I have to make sure that I at least not subpar and everything, right? And then I have to find what I'm better at and strike at that. Use it as my fierce weapon and just go ahead and use it against them. YouTube is no friendly platform. YouTube is a gigantic field of competition. It's nothing about friendship here. I mean, I would be glad and I would be really glad to know the people who work on YouTube, bigger YouTubers who work in similar fields as I do. I would love to get to know Tabascus. I would love to get to know PewDiePie. I would love to get to know Nova and Day9 and all these wonderful people. But they are my direct competition, It does not matter. It does not matter whether I admire them or not. It's not about admiration for me. It's about competition. That's why I'm getting really aggressive and very competitive at that, because it's my work, It's much like when you produce any kind of things. It's much like when you produce clothing. You don't necessarily hate the guy next to you, but he's your competition. He's stealing your bread. So, you treat him accordingly. Now, the difference between me and, for example, PewDiePie is that he's already established at what he does, right? But he never in a million years will be able to catch up with the comments or questions on his videos in order to actually answer them. And people might get offended or even insulted. Like, for example, in case of Total Biscuit, he actually does not respond to comments at all, right? He makes a video on the daily basis, much like I do, or should I say, I do a video on a daily basis, much like he does. And in these videos, 100% of the times, he answers the questions from his community, from people who watch him constantly and want to know his opinion on different topics. I think that's a great way to connect to audience, and I would really love to connect to my people, to people who watch me in the similar fashion when I get bigger. It's all about the size, what you do and how you do that depends on your size, depends on the size of your channel and what you're going to do. A very simple example for you, imagine two weapons, okay? Imagine a rapier. A rapier is this pointy stick, pointy needle, very, very weak looking weapon, but it's again made of steel, it's pretty damn fine. And imagine, for example, a gigantic two-handed mace, right? Mace is this metal or wooden with a metal ending weapon which has spikes sometimes on top of it, this kind of club which easily smashes through armor and etc, etc. Now, the needle, the rapier, is in essence me. That's me. That's rapier. I'm small, I'm quick, I can easily respond and adapt, whereas bigger channels are these maces. And it doesn't mean I'm better than them. It doesn't mean they're better than me. We're just different in what we do. But in essence, I would like to be where they are right now, I'm not interested in staying small channel for the entirety of my career, I'm not interested in that. I would like to get bigger. But it does not mean that necessarily necessarily their content is better than mine or my content is better than theirs. There are many channels on YouTube which are not appreciated as much as they should, but they make a top-notch content. Okay, the quality, the commentators are good and funny. They're not talking about bullshit. They provide really high-quality commentary. They bring something new to the scene and they make something creative, right? There are many people who are very much appreciated, but I think they do not deserve as much appreciation, but they're popular because they know how to market themselves. You see, it's all about different approaches. It's all about different tactics and strategies involved. It's about so many things. But from the perspective of the consumer, of people who watch our channels, who watch our videos, that does not appear as such. People like to see collaborations. People like to see different content. They like to see more and more of different content. For example, one of the things I see on my videos, something like person comes to a video on Binding of Isaac and he's like, play Minecraft, and another one's like, play Skyrim, or like, more Skyrim. When is going to be Skyrim? I really want to get with Skyrim, to start making more content about Skyrim. I'm trying to get there, but you have to remember that what do you have to remember? You know how much work it takes to actually make a series of Amnesia and Binding of Isaac? Do you think it's easy? You know how much time it takes to actually make those episodes and then edit them and make editing like small enough and easy to replicate, but at the same time worthy of your eye to actually look at? It's so difficult. Do you know how much time it takes to put all the tags in order, even to use templates for that? Do you know how much time it takes? Do you know how much time it takes to put a proper description that will be valuable for any viewer and for people who might propose me a business offer? You know how much time it takes? You cannot imagine. Yesterday, I woke up in 9 in the morning, okay? I slept 6 hours. I fall asleep at 3 in the morning, right? And I slept until 9. And I was sitting there on my computer. I never left the house, was making small breaks during the remainder of the 24 hours in a day, okay? And I still couldn't catch up. And I made all the thumbnails. I've made all the descriptions. I've made all the tags. I've made all the names properly, organized things into playlists, and still didn't have enough time to make all the annotations, because all these hours were wasted to make these things, to catch up. That's very, very difficult. Many bigger channels, in fact, they hire people in order to make them stuff, like for example to edit videos or to make thumbnails, to make this and that. It's a damn fine idea, but I can hardly pay for myself at this stage right now, and it's not going to happen soon if I ever gonna hire anyone. So that's all about the size, right? Size brings additional might, additional power, opportunities, additional strength, but it also becomes more and more difficult to connect with your audience, But at the same time, no matter how big the audience is, no matter how small the audience is, you know that I love you, I appreciate that you're watching me. I appreciate that you spend your time, you take it out of your day, that you sit on your chair, and you enjoy the video, and that you enjoy the video enough to actually make a comment on it, to subscribe to my channel to see more, and that you actually participate in discussions, you ask your questions, you suggest me things. I really appreciate it. I love you all, And no matter how many of you becomes, it doesn't matter that I love you less. It doesn't mean that I love you less. Even though I'm trying to compress the time I spend to answer your questions, that's not because I don't want to do that. That's because I'm trying to still have the same time that I spend on creation of new videos and editing of new videos and etc, etc, etc. In case of PewDiePie and Nova and whomever else, I would imagine it would be the same, depending on what their policies is. I don't think any one of them has a policy answer every goddamn freaking question. I have the policy. I'm the only one probably gaming channel on YouTube that has this policy. I do not know if that's the truth, but hands down, I'm doing it. I'm doing it since the creation of my channel, and it's been 10 months now, and I will continue doing it until I can, And this is what it is, It's not so much about differentiating channels. It's about differentiating people, how people treat their subscribers and what do they want from their subscribers. From you, I want participate in the comments. I want your feedback. I want you to just watch the video, and I want you to like it or tell me why you not like it so I can fix it and get better, because that's what it aimed on. I'm trying to get bigger and bigger audience, but to get bigger and bigger audience, I have to get better and better, And the initial supporters that I got when I started making Skyrim, when I started making Dead Island, the Lord of the Rings War in the North, and etc, 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 all these videos, they were this, preparation and a trying of hand to actually get better in these things. And it's not easy, it's a lot of work. And eventually, of course, I won't be able to answer to all your questions, but I will gladly organize something really cool, like organize a live event in which I will just sit for 1 hour live, get the questions I like from you and just answer them in a live fashion, just for you, just for those of you who are subscribed, for example. Just find a way to organize it and, you know, just have fun with it. It's all about what you want to do with it, not so much about your size. And of course, eventually people start spending less time with their viewers and cannot spend as much time. But imagine if, for example, Tabascus would sit down and answer all the questions in all of his videos. Do you know how much time it would take to him? That would take a lot of time. But it doesn't mean he hates you or tries to ignore you on purpose. It's just when you work 24 hours a day, you know, it's not so much that you have, it's not so much time that you have to actually spend and answer on these questions. But, you know, that's a lot of fun. They're missing out. I actually enjoy it really much. Well, regardless, that will be enough for today. I hope it was enjoyable. If it was, please do not forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel to see more and support my work, and plus come back tomorrow for another quick save daily, because I promised you tomorrow is going to be, today is actually Sunday. Haha, there's no promises for you. Today is the last daily until Monday, because Monday is tomorrow. Yeah, Mike, screw logic. Logic is not important, it's irrelevant. Have a greatest day. I hope to see you tomorrow once again, and bye bye.